basement, level vibes with another one, straight up, blackness aye. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskop stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, we have to gather wrong, grab a seat and sit down, pay attention. Education, liberation, we have to stand strong. Benskop upon the radio, lively up the program. Everybody call somebody and let them turn and tune and on the radio and catch the boom song. We boom it up already, we have to boom it up again. Expose and reveal him. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cop, and what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight.
How we gonna do a body man walk right now? You ready? Box on, let me go now. Hear me sing now. Body walk, body walk. Body walk, body walk, truck, body walk, body walk, body walk, body, listen, body jump, body.
I can't take it no more, I can't take it no more, can't take it no more. Imagine 18 hours of blackout, and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%, yet you give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people, search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public base, then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. They don't drive no fear in the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment, and you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows, one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clouds. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Baratans too. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. Unemployment racism and the lie they say one Guyana. Cause when you look where the oil money going, circulate with one set of banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how we will set up. The people fed up.
I don't even know where to start. You guys can tell me where to start. Just tell me where to start. Anyways, good night. Welcome to Straight Up. It's the 6th day of January. January is almost over, right? I don't know, but what's going on, guys? All of you, and I know you are. You guys have been behaving yourselves, and we're all big men, old women, young men are also watching, and the middle-agers, so to speak. Good night, all of you. It's 2025. Don't forget, elections around the corner. You guys have got to get your acts together in the opposition. Elections around the corner. Do not be fooled. Do not be manipulated. Not everything that glitters is gold, right? So if you know what I mean, we'll get back to the serpent story some other time. But tonight, we want to deal with some issues. We should have a guest that's coming on tonight. I hope that guest is ready. We're going to be talking about some things. Soon as our operator tells us that the guest is all set to come on, maybe in another 10 minutes or so, then we can rock and roll. All of you, wherever you are, thank you for sharing the link. Here's one of the things that I want to ask you guys. What's the situation with the 8:30? Some people are saying that they do not get the link, all manner of things they complain about in a good way sometimes. So I don't know why they don't get the link. Why do you think they don't get the link? And is 8:30 okay? If we start at 9 o'clock, then the folks in Guyana will have to stay up until 10 to 11 to watch the show. And I think it's a little unfair to those folks in Guyana after all what they have to endure under the corrupt PPP regime. And in the nights also, there's no current, blackouts upon blackouts upon blackouts upon blackouts in Guyana. These vagabonds who are in office through illegal means, they just cannot govern. They do not know how to run a country. What they do know is how to ruin a country. And they've been doing just that. The history behind the PPP is not development, as some of them in the PPP would say, development. It is not about development. It is about death and destruction. That is what the PPP is all about. They have destroyed the youth throughout the country. And we cannot allow that to continue any further. It has got to stop. One way or the other, through the votes, of course. One way or the other, through the votes, of course, it has got to stop. All right, someone says here, talk about Prime Minister Patrick Manning is stepping down. Okay. Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago is stepping down. Maduro might be kicked out. Jack Dale and Irfan may probably kick out too. Who knows? Things are changing all across the world. Maduro might be kicked out. Jack Dale might be handcuffed and kicked out because, Guyana, they built a lot of these guys, and you know who they are. They built their wealth through questionable circumstances, including Jack Dale. Some built it through money laundering, gold smuggling, drugs, you name it. Assassinations have killed a set of people, lots of things. And then suddenly some of them want to dress up and pretend that all is well. No, all is not well. All is not well in Guyana. All is not well, guys. Wake up, smell the coffee, get your act together. Of course, what is it? Trinidad and Tobago What's the big thing? What's the big thing? He's going to resign. Trinidad is in a mess. Look, I like Keith Rowley, don't get me wrong. Trinidad is in a mess. Is in a mess. Curfew. Trinidad isn't the place when I used to go there many years ago. You take a nice walk through Diego Martin. Diego Martin is now a mess. People are being killed left, right, and center. You walk through the Beatum, you go through by Bartaria, you go through by the Beatum area. Well, Bartaria is far off from the Beatum and so forth. The Labas, some of you from Trinidad, you know where's the Labas. And all these areas, you can't, not even San Fernando. You can't even walk properly in San Fernando. You can't even come back and say, I went down San Fernando. No, Trinidad has changed. It has changed. I know Rowley tried, don't get me wrong, but it has changed. It has changed. And so Rowley has said that he is in office, has been in politics for 45 years. What more does he want? 45 years. He said that's it. That's it. Ian Williams is saying Guyana is in a bigger mess. Well, fair enough. Economically, in terms of dividing the country, yeah, we know that. But Trinidad is not as safe as it used to be, boy. I know what telling you, Williams. I know what telling you. You can't even walk. I know what telling all you. I'm not bad-mouthing Trinidad. I love Trinidad and Tobago, boy. I know what telling all you. I know what telling all you. I really do love Trinidad and Tobago. I ain't care what all you said. Anyway, sorry about that. I don't want to get carried away. Some of you might be reading between the lines. I'm not here for you guys to read between the lines, but, yeah. All right, good. So Dr. Keith Rowley has tried his best. He has done a lot of good things, so we got to give him kudos. I wonder who he's going to hand it over to, right? But and the Prime Minister of, where is it? Canada is on his way out. He has admitted that he can't make it. It's too much. He can't handle it. And before he destroys the party and the country, he says, that's it. Now, I must say that I salute those two gentlemen, Dr. Keith Rowley, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and Trudeau, Trudeau, out in Canada. I salute them. They did the honorable thing. They can't make it. They can't do the job. They said they're out of there. What happened to Guyana? They have wrecked, the PPP has wrecked the country inside out, destroyed the country inside out. And those vagabonds, those pacus are still there. But if they don't want to go, you guys got to send them. You guys got to send them packing. Let them go. Let them go. You know, they get a reggae song or something, but if a man thing, let him go. If a man something, let him go. If a man anything, let him go. You know, oh boy, yeah. Let them go. Let them, they gotta go. They got to go. If a man has something done, let him go. Guyana needs bright leaders, not just young. They need visionaries, not people with questionable characters, questionable background, destructionists and all these. No. Guyana cannot go that route. Y'all can't say me never did a one. Guyana cannot go that route. Decent men and women need to be leading that country, not corrupt men and women. Oh no, it cannot happen. It cannot happen. It cannot happen, guys. It cannot happen. It just cannot happen. Can't say me never did a warn, Una, right? Take warning. Take warning. Take warning. And I will be intensifying that warning in time to come. All right. Hey, good night to all of you. I see we get some trainees here. Good night to all of you. All right. Yeah, I want you guys to take a listen to this. And we're talking about the hypocrisy, right?
Take a listen. Take a listen to this.
The APNU-AFC campaigned on a youth platform in 2015. And during the 2015 to 2020 period, we saw how they treated young people. They broke all their promises to the young people. They held no senior positions in the government. The promise of the National Youth Council was not achieved, even though it was in their 100-day plan. And as a matter of fact, President David Granger at the time said that it is not government's responsibility to create jobs for young people. It was President Ali that established the National Youth Council and is the People's Progressive Party civic government that has been standing with young
So that's you guys understand what's going on there, right? The PPP for 30 years have had a national what is it, a poverty reduction strategy, a poverty reduction strategy. They have not touched it. They did absolutely nothing. They have destroyed the country. Poverty all over the place. 10, 15 years ago, we visited a place called Plastic City. How many of you guys know Plastic City? Plastic City. We're talking about Plastic City, right? The PPP has done nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. Nothing. But yet they're talking about youths. These people, these Pakus in the PPP regime are suddenly talking about youths. Well, I have a wake-up call for them and youths, because them ain't do nothing for the youths in Guyana. I don't know what youths they're talking about, but what we do know is that they stoned buses. They stoned buses with young people inside. That is what they have done. They stoned buses with young people inside, right? But these Pakus, these vagabonds in the PPP regime want to tell you, they want to tell us that they care about young people. Okay, I don't know what's the name of this person here that's speaking. I think Rodriguez or something. Is that Rodriguez, who's part of the Ministry of Housing, right? Listen to her again.
The APNU-AFC campaigned on a youth platform in 2015. And during the 2015 to 2020 period, we saw how they treated young people. They broke all their promises to the young people. They held no senior positions in the government. The promise of the National Youth Council was not achieved, even though it was in their 100-day plan. And as a matter of fact, President David Granger at the time said that it is not government's responsibility to create jobs for young people. It was President Ali that established the National Youth Council and is the People's Progressive Party civic government that has been standing with young people and working with young people for
Yeah. So what exactly, how many of you guys agree with what was said? That, in my opinion, garbage that was said there. It's pure garbage, because the PPP regime, they never cared about poor people. This is just one of the housing schemes. Take a look at this. This was back in 2012. This place is called Plastic City. Plastic City, right there in Freedom Hoop. Nobody cared about them. Right there in Freedom Hoop, under the PPP regime. All across the country you visit, that is what you see. Nobody cared then. Everybody was just, for the most part, they're enjoying their lives, their riches. Some of them were enjoying their overnight riches and all manner of things. Nobody cared about these people. Nobody cared about them at all. But let us take you back to the propaganda now by the PPP regime and Susan Rodriguez, the junior minister of housing. Now, they're talking about the PPP cares about young people. Look at the hundreds of young people who are deprived of going to school close by to them in Linden. Is that how the PPP cares about young people? I don't think so. Look at these young people. How many of them? About 20 young people died. as a result of negligence of the PPP regime, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Local Government. Is that how the PPP is telling you guys, is telling the Guyanese people that they care about young people? Susan Rodriguez, is this how you guys care about young people? Stoning school buses, injuring school children? Is that how you're saying to us that you care about young people? And let me remind Susan Rodriguez, I think this was back in 2014-15, sometime around then. And this was an interview with this young man that we were part of a protest. He was tortured at the Sparendam police station. Junior Torrington, tortured. You see those hands? Badly damaged. Tortured. And when we visited him at the police station, you should see his hands. Tortured. All because the police picked him up. Bright young man too. And they tortured him because they wanted him to confess about a crime he never committed. A minor crime they tortured him for. I bet a lot of you don't remember that, but I wish to remind Susan Rodriguez. The same Susan Rodriguez that is now talking about young people, how they care about young people. Oh, really? Susan Rodriguez? Is that how you guys care about young people? This young man was tortured by members of the Guyana police force at the Sparendam police station. Is that how you guys care about young people? I don't think so. Susan Rodriguez. The PPP has a history of ill-treating young people. The PPP has a history of torturing young people. The PPP, under the PPP regime, scores of young people were killed. Some by police, members of the Guyana police force. They were tortured. This young man was tortured according to reports at the Temeri police station, and many of you would remember his name, and he was tortured. The allegations at that time that the police took a plunger and stick it up, you know where, okay? And tortured this young man. Where is Susan Rodriguez? Can someone tag her, please? This is the same Susan Rodriguez that is talking about what again?
The APNU-AFC campaigned on a youth platform in 2015. And during the 2015 to 2020 period, we saw how they treated young people. They broke all their promises to the young people. They held no senior positions in the government. The promise of the National Youth Council was not achieved.
Senior positions in the government by young, they had quite a lot of young people. The PPP doesn't have a history of these sort of things. An occasional young man or a young whatever here and there, occasionally. But the PPP has a history of ill-treating young people, destroying the lives of young people in Guyana. You know how many hundreds of thousands of young people were deprived of a proper education? You know how many young people were deprived of going to technical institutes across Guyana as a result of the incompetent PPP regime? Take a look at what they did to Rose Hall Technical Institute, and you'll understand what I'm talking about, depriving young people of a technical training, some sort of trades or something that we were accustomed to. Take a look at what they did to Linden Technical, or the Mackenzie Technical Institute, is it? And then the Georgetown Technical Institute. Every single thing they destroyed in that country. What they did, they built pens, big pens, and they call it boys' schools and girls' schools, thanks to the David Granger administration that says, no, kids should be given an opportunity to go back to school, not to be penned up and locked away somewhere at some boys' school and girls' school and them nonsense that, right? Because how do you expect to change a young person if you take them and put them in big cages like what the PPP regime did? Now, the same Susan Rodriguez is praising the PPP, no evidence, nothing. And mind you, they're only looking at, they said from 2015 2015 to 2020, they're saying that the coalition did nothing for young people. Utter garbage. What a lie. You know, one of the good things that the APNU AFC government did for young people is that young people were able to breathe again after the close to 30 or 25 years, of destruction by the PPP regime, depriving them an opportunity to go to the University of Guyana by imposing a tuition fee for them, something that used to be free under the PNC government up until 1992 or 1993, when the PPP took office in 92. By 93, that's it. They deprived thousands of young people to have access to a free university education. They deprive young people from going to Rose Hall Technical Institute, New Amsterdam Technical Institute, Georgetown Technical Institute. All these technical institutes were run down under the PPP regime. They prefer young men, mostly under quarantine and other places, to go and cut cane. That is all they wanted to do. Young men to go and cut cane, and young men to go and catch fish. Now, nothing is wrong with that. But if they had a government, a caring government that would create real jobs or the opportunity for people to become real successful businessmen, not to smuggle gold, smuggle drugs and all these things and pampersetting themselves as rich people in today. I'm talking about honest dollars, mind you, right? And so the PPP built a culture of food ga eat, money ga make. A money ga make culture, that is what the PPP introduced to Guyana. But when it comes to young people under the coalition, they were able to breathe again. They didn't have to worry that they were going to walk the streets and police gun them down like dogs. They didn't have to walk the streets and then they were kidnapped and tortured either by members of the Guyana police force or by phantom squads and dead squads people who were connected to the PPP regime. And for the most part, they were drug lords. A young man on the west bank of Demerara, he's dead now. 15-year-old, because people believed that they could use their semi-automatic guns and fancy guns and shoot up under the PPP regime, killing that young man. The young man with the last name, I believe, Prasad. All of these dirty things happened and more happened under the corrupt PPP regime. And young people felt that there was no future for them. They believed that the future for them was to, and not all young people, not all, but what we do know is that the PPP never provided the equipment or anything for these young people. Nothing. And so when I heard Susan Rodriguez talking about the PPP care or the caring towards young people, I couldn't believe it. I had a piece of fried chicken because I know we like fried chicken, right? And you know, right? It fell right out of my hand. Right out of my hand. A piece of fried chicken right out of my hand, because I'm like, are Guyanese people listening to what? I mean, a lot of people don't listen to the PPP anyways. But the hypocrisy is what got my attention. Listen again to Susan Rodriguez. Listen to her.
The APNU-AFC campaigned on a youth platform in 2015. And during the 2015 to 2020 period, we saw how they treated young people. They broke all their promises to the...
Yeah, for 23 years, yes, we know, Susan Rodriguez, we know how the PPP treated young people. We know that. In 2010, wasn't it Donald Ramutar, or during the 2010 campaign, Donald Ramutar went to Linden and he said he's going to create 3,000 jobs. Instead of creating 3,000 jobs, they tortured youths, they tear gas youths, young people there, all because they were protesting. And guess what? Instead of giving the people of Linden 3,000 jobs, as Donald Ramutar promised them, guess what? Give them 3 caskets to bury a young man or young men also included in that. under the PPP regime, under Donald Ramatar's regime. It's the same Donald Ramatar who, a couple of days ago, was in Suriname, attended the late President Desi Boutasar's funeral. And he's talking about the genocide in the Middle East and how it's wrong and how it's this and how it's that, when Guyana had a semi-genocide under the PPP regime. Donald Ramatar never apologized for when he was in government, when he was the head of his government, for the killings of those 3 men in Linden. They were murdered. They were assassinated by agents of the state. Did the nation get an apology from Donald Ramatar? No. Wasn't it under the PPP regime, Donald Ramatar's regime, a young man, a former military officer, a former Queen's College student by the name of Courtney Crummy-Wing was assassinated. But yet Donald Ramatar goes to Suriname to talk about what's happening in the Middle East. The same Donald Ramatar that was so quiet when hundreds of people were being slaughtered in Guyana, when he was General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party. Not a word, not a single word. Absolutely nothing. But then again, let's go back into Susan Rodriguez. Susan Rodriguez. Guys, this program is about decent language. This is not the PPP's platform where wild and loose talk. Be respectful in your language. Thank you. You know who I'm talking about there. Be respectful in your language. Now, let's go back to Susan Rodriguez. Let's head back to Susan Rodriguez. She's talking about young people and the PPP so caring about young people. Not true. Not true at all. Apart from this young man, how many of you guys remember this young man? Victim being wheeled in at Georgetown Public Hospital. How many of you guys know or recognize this young man here? How many of you guys? How many of you guys recognize this young man? Let me see how many of you guys know what was happening back then. And please tag Susan Rodriguez so that I can walk her through what's happening under the PPP regime and the fact that the PPP never cared about young people. In fact, they slaughtered so many young people. They have jailed so many young people. They have tortured so many young people. And since I'm not seeing any comment as it pertains to this photograph up there with that young man, in 2000, what was it? 2000 and maybe 10 or somewhere back then. This young man, Theon Thomas, was tortured by members of the Guyana police force at the Parika police station. Theon Thomas badly tortured all over his private area. Tortured. Thanks, Dexter Haley. Tortured. Badly burnt. Where is Susan Rodriguez? Can somebody call Susan Rodriguez? These are the people who are now talking about young people and that they care about young people. Do they really care about young people? It's a rhetorical question. We already know that they do not. Leonora Police Station, not Parika, sorry about that. Leonora Police Station. Theon Thomas and the struggle a few of us had to go through in protesting so that they end up giving him little pittance, little piece of crumbs. Little youngster, he was a little boy, tortured him. Nobody cared. Nobody cared about these people. Only elections time you hear who people care and who care. Some of them can't even speak. And they want to brainwash people, but they could be president. Some of them can't even talk properly. Nobody cared. Very few people did. Theon Thomas, I haven't seen this young man in so many years. I hope he and his mom, I hope they're okay. But this is what was done to him under the PPP regime. Tag Susan Rodriguez. Is that her name? From Ministry of Housing, one of the most corrupt ministries in Guyana. One of the most corrupt ministries in Guyana. Susan Rodriguez is talking. And look, she's throwing stuff in the garbage. The government, the installed government needs to be thrown in the garbage. Elections time. Boom, vote them out. Throw them in the garbage. Vote them out.
The APNU-AFC campaigned on a youth platform in 2015. And during the 2015 to 2020 period, we saw how they treated young people. They broke all their promises to the young people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, somebody tag Susan Rodriguez. Can somebody tag her so that I can remind her about this guy, Alex Griffith, around 2014? Shot in his mouth. A cadet officer of the Guyana police force put a gun in his mouth, this little boy's mouth, and was playing Russian roulette with him, right? Put the gun in his mouth. Yeah. Pull the trigger, clucks, 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 boom. Blow him up. Alex Griffith. Run around. They barely, his lawyers and all, had to fight for him. The PPP didn't want to give him any compensation or anything. Well, thankfully, under the coalition, he got, as a result of the state settled the matter and ended up giving the little boy crumbs. I can't believe this here. Susan Rodriguez, they're talking about young people. Can somebody tag Susan Rodriguez? This is the same Susan Rodriguez. Susan Rodriguez. This is the same Susan Rodriguez talking.
The APNU-AFC campaigned on a youth platform in 2015. And during the 2015 to 2020 period, we saw how they treated young people. They broke all their promises to the young people. They held no senior positions in the government. The promise of the National Youth Council was not achieved, even though it was in their 100-day plan. And as a matter of fact, President David Granger at the time said that it is not government's responsibility to create jobs for young people. It was President Ali that established the National Youth Council and is the People's Progressive Party civic government that has been...
It was the same Irfan Ali, of course, in bed with a bunch of questionable characters who give him all sorts of things, vehicles and security. All of them were one big happy family. One big happy family. He wasn't concerned about youths. When he was Minister of Housing, do you know how Irfan Ali treated young people going to get a piece of land, a piece of house lot, and all of these things? These are the same people who are talking about youths. Isn't this the same Irfan Ali that Susan Rodriguez is talking about when he attended the funeral of these young men? The Henry cousins, Isaiah Joel, and then later the young man Harry Singh was also killed. Under the PPP regime, young people are not safe. At the funeral services for Isaiah Henry and Joel Henry, the same Irfan Ali said that in terms of justice, he will leave no stone unturned. We're still waiting to see what stone he's talking about. I don't know what stone he's talking about. I really don't know. Maybe he meant this.
How we gonna do a body man walk right now? You ready? Boxer, let me go now. Hear me sing now. Go on the walk. Go on the walk.
Maybe that's stone he meant. Because to this day, the Isaiah boys, the relatives of the Isaiah boys, have not gotten any justice. Nothing at all. No justice. None whatsoever. In fact, all they've got was miseries, compliments of the corrupt PPP regime. Harassing his family, no justice. And the point is, young people are not safe under the PPP regime. What the PPP regime wants to do, and they have been doing, is to ensure that they catch young people and turn them into henchmen, turn them into contract killers, and all these sort of things under the PPP regime. That is what they do. And so Susan Rodriguez, I don't know what rock Susan crawled out under. I just don't know. But the PPP cannot be allowed to spread their propaganda, the lies, the blatant lies and propaganda about caring for young people. The same young people that they're talking about every single day, blackouts upon blackouts upon blackouts. They can't use their computers. They can't study for exams or anything because all they get in the house, they hear whenever there's blackout, a big suck teeth. Blackout again. And they have nothing to do. She got nothing to, they have nothing to do. Absolutely nothing to do. Compliments of the corrupt PPP regime. Susan Rodriguez, the junior minister of housing, where they deprived thousands of young people for a house lot. And then when they give young people a piece of land, a piece of houses, a little country baby piece of house like this, smaller than someone's garage. And that is what they're talking about, success story. Shame on Susan Rodriguez. Shame on her. Shame on the PPP regime. Shame on them. And that video came right out, not so long after the PPP did this. The PPP regime, the state will be challenging a recent judgment by the Supreme Court, which awarded $24 million to the family of Quindon Bacchus, shot and killed in 2022 under the PPP regime. Shot and killed. Oh yeah. Shot and killed under the PPP regime. But you think they care? No, 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 no. Nope. Yeah, shot and killed. Do you think they care? No, no, no. They do not. They never, never care. They do not care. So we've got to say to Susan Rodriguez, no, 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 no. Fake news, false news, propaganda. They've got to do it right. Can we expect them to do it right though? Oh no. How many of you guys, let's go back in 2001. Borbis, a 14-year-old boy. Guess what happened? Police shot off his leg. Vincent Montgomery Griffith. Oh yeah. Vincent Montgomery Griffith got his leg shot off by members of the Guyana police force under the PPP regime. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, people know that I'm on the air and anyways, Vincent Montgomery Griffith shot off his leg. Where was Susan Rodriguez? Yeah. We know where Susan Rodriguez was. We know where she was. under a rock. Under a rock. Somebody tag her, please. Guys, we are not here to talk about people's private life and who use them things and who them things, you know, them. We're not here to talk about if somebody uses for sexual purpose a Dharamlal object. And you know what I mean by a Dharamlal object. No. No. So take a look at this trench grapple. I'm assuming it's a trench grapple. Wait, benchmark using President Trump fake news slogan? What fake news slogan? This grasshopper? Well, y'all know what a grasshopper goes. We're not here for distraction and them stupid. We never them things. We never them things. So grasshopper take a gone right off the bat, right? So back to Susan Rodriguez. This is what they do. They distort things. Guys, let's stay focused. We're not here to talk about anybody's sexual orientation and who use this and who use balat and we're not. Guys, let's stick to the issue. Please, let's stick to the issue. I hope you guys are not upset by asking you. Let's stick to the issue. Let's not get personal. Let's not get that kind of personal with people. Let's stick to the issue. Now, back to Susan Rodriguez. The same Susan Rodriguez is talking about young people. Now, we know the PPP doesn't care. We know that. But let's remind Susan Rodriguez about, well, they already know. Clement Roy was the Minister of Home Affairs. During that time, his visa was revoked, allegedly for a lot of things. He said he was going to tell the people. He never did. But this is Alex Griffith, shot in his mouth by police. The bottom left is Tion Thomas. He was awarded $6.5 million after his genitals burnt at the Lenora police station by members of the Guyana police force. Under the PPP regime, they promoted the police officers who burnt the genitals of Tion Thomas. Junior Torrington was tortured at the Sparandam police station. He was awarded, his lawyer won something, and he was awarded, I believe, under the coalition government. Alex Griffith was awarded under the coalition government. But this young man, you guys should, I know some of you probably know exactly what's going on there, how he was born. You saw that photograph, you saw the image, it was horrible. You know, I've been there with the young man and his mother in terms of protesting and fighting for justice and all these things. And all the corrupt PPP regime gave them was $6.5 million. This little boy, I hope he's doing well. And then Junior Torrington, same thing. Alex Griffith, where is Susan Rodriguez? Where is Susan Rodriguez? Where is Susan Rodriguez? Somebody tag her. Tag her. Speaking of torture, not so long ago, this little boy, look at his condition. Look by his arm and his chest and so forth. He files a $150 million lawsuit over alleged torture at Vigilance Police Station. This was not so long ago, a couple months ago. Jaheim Peters, tortured allegedly by members of the Guyana police force at Vigilance Police Station. Tortured. Where is Susan Rodriguez, guys? Where is Susan? Can somebody look under a rock? Where is Susan? Susie? I don't want to call you like how Vibes Cartel will call. Oh, Susie? Are you that? Nah, man.
The APNU-AFC campaigned on a youth platform in 2050.
They sung alike. What nonsense is that? The PPP can never care about young people. You heard Says-Narain, the former Speaker of the National Assembly, and this is what Says-Narain said. Says-Narain said that as a young man, when he was a young man, he was given a party card by the PPP regime. He gave them a party card. And he realized that as a young man, the first thing he was taught to do, Says-Narain said that the first thing he was taught to do was to thief. Says-Narain said that. He said, man, he said it, of course, with a bit of humor, that it was jokingly. He said, man, his first job was to thief, which was true. God bless him. He's no longer with us on earth. But look, getting back to Susan Rodriguez, talking about young people. This was just recently. Young people. Quindon Bacchus, recently. They don't care. What else? What else is it? What else? How many of you remember this story? How many of you remember this story with Kevin Simon on the left, the little boy there with the blue shirt, and his father in front of Parandam Magistrates Court? How many of you guys know all of these stories? Some people, when they had a chance to help, they weren't doing anything. They were enjoying the riches. All manner of things. This is the little boy. Somebody tag Susan Rodriguez. Susie, where you there? So now, here. This little boy, Kevin Simon, was standing somewhere there, Pleasance area, Sparnam side, or whatever. And thank you, Carlton, Popo, Anthony. And so the Jagdeo president, Jagdeo was driving his cars, escort cars. I know little boys will be little boys. We're all at one point in time, right? Many, many years ago, right? Carl Miller and others. So the police siren passing and a vehicle passing, and this boy saw the sirens. I don't know what the sirens probably annoyed him, and he decided to stick his middle finger up. Well, not this finger, but his middle finger, right? His middle finger. That is what he, according to the report, that is what he did. So what? So what? Do you guys know that the police stopped? Apparently, Jack Dave knew what went on. Saw the middle finger, probably didn't get too excited or vexed that the little boy middle finger probably was small. Middle finger, I'm just assuming. I don't know what really transpired that tickled Jack Dave so much that the police stopped. They arrested this guy, that little boy. He was just about 16 or 17. Arrested him. And guess what? Where is Susan Rodriguez? Somebody tag Susan Rodriguez. And they sent this little boy, never committed any crime in his life, was never locked up or anything. And they sent him, locked him up at Sparnam police station, put him in front of the magistrate a couple days after. And guess what they did to him? Y'all think they put him on bail? No, just with the middle finger. Y'all think they put him on bail? No, they sent him to Camp Street Prison. Camp Street Prison. For over 2 to 3 weeks, this little boy was in Camp Street Prison. Until, of course, the family got so frustrated they didn't know what to do. They contacted us. And we decided to mount a protest in front of Sparndam Magistrates Court. They released him, and that's it. They released him. So the point that I'm making, and this was a protest, we were protesting in front, this was the day he got released. You think Jack Dave, they care? You think Susan Rodriguez, they care about anything? You think they do? The amount of corruption that's happening at the Ministry of Housing, y'all will be surprised. Y'all would be surprised. So again, remind Susan Rodriguez about these things. Somebody remind her about these things. This is recently. Look at this guy. Police officers who allegedly burnt and tortured teen should be charged with attempted murder. This is according to a page. This is according to a page on Burke's. So the point with this here, the police officers have been promoted by the PPP regime. Promoted by the PPP regime. I know some of the PPP guys don't say, oh, like one of them hop on to talk about Trump and fake news. We don't deal with fake news. We are showing these guys the facts, the evidence. And some of the Pakus coming about fake news. But fake news. Where is Susan Rodriguez? Tag her on this one here. How many of you guys know this here? How many of you guys recognize anyone here? And to the family members of these young men. And if any of these young men, any one of the three standing there, if they're watching, please accept my apologies for raising up these old wounds. But under the PPP regime, Ian Williams, don't let your bumps raise. If y'all know half the truth what transpired, y'all wouldn't be talking certain things. But let's stick to the issue here now. This young man, Johansi Douglas, was murdered by members of the Guyana police force. Murdered. All four of these youngsters were in a car. When police saw them, they were no threat to police. The only threat was, of course, their ethnicity. That was because under the PPP regime, for the most part, young men of African descent were targeted. And they were eliminated by members of the state because they felt comfortable doing so under Jack Gale's regime, under Donald Ramatar's regime. And so these young men, as Deputy Mayor of New Amsterdam, Kirk Fraser, just mentioned, they just finished playing basketball, and police blistered their vehicle with bullets. Shot up these young men, killed Johansi Douglas on the spot. All of them UG students. All of them UG students. Thankfully, they're all alive except Johansi Douglas. Again, my apologies to the relatives of Johansi Douglas and the others, Ronson Gray and others, and his two other friends standing there. Shame on the PPP regime. Shame on Susan Rodriguez. Isn't it the same Susan Rodriguez who wants to tell us that the PPP cares about young people?
The APNU-AFC campaigned on a youth platform in 2015. And during the 2015 to 2020 period, we saw how they treated young people. They broke all their promises to the young people. They held no senior positions in the government. The promise of the
Yep. Check out some of the young people who are in senior positions, so-called senior positions in the PPP. Check out how they're mismanaging and the corruption in their ministries. Susan Rodriguez should check out what's happening in her ministry. Hundreds of millions of corruption, the discrimination, right there at the Ministry of Housing. Shame on you, Susan Rodriguez. Shame on the PPP regime. So when the PPP regime comes to you this elections, especially young people, I'm no longer in the young people's category. So I ain't gonna fool myself. Young people is for me like 35 and under, right? Because they get some young people in their 40s, late 40s, mid 40s, or some people and they really still think they're young, you know. But young people really have no future under the PPP regime. Absolutely none, none whatsoever. No future under the PPP regime. Somebody tag Susan Rodriguez. Tag her quickly and remind her of these things. Remind her of these young people who were tortured. Some of them were killed. Look at these 20 young, beautiful young souls. Under the PPP regime, they have died. All of them perished in that fire. And the family members of these young students, these beautiful young people, have been complaining for weeks now that the PPP regime have turned, the corrupt PPP regime and the ministers within the PPP regime have turned a blind eye on them. All of them. No more Priya Manichan on the scene, except you see her ringing a bell now. I don't know, maybe Sheriff Duncan should check to see if his bell is missing. Belly, not belly. Bell is missing. Come on, guys. Slip of the tongue there, right? And so Susan Rodriguez, tonight, she is the recipient of the award right here on 107.1 FM. Prepare for your award, please, Susan Rodriguez. Here goes. Ladies and gentlemen, I leave you here tonight with one thing in mind. Do not be fooled. Do not be fooled by the corrupt, racist, apartheid PPP regime, and do not be fooled by the serpents you see who are now crawling out of their holes, pretending as though they like you. If you take a poll, a real poll, you will get to understand where the serpents fit in the polls. But for now, my name is Mark Benshap. I'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time. Guyana has to be able to breathe again. And all of you have to be able to wrestle power through elections, through the ballot, out of the hands of these corrupt vagabonds, the corrupt PPP regime. And it must be placed in the hands of decent people, decent men and women, decent, read between the lines, decent. You guys already know what I'm talking about. Decent men and women who care about Guyana, who are patriotic Guyanese. Not corrupt individuals. Stay awoke, guys. Stay awoke. But before we go, though, you know, I like to leave you guys with a little smile on your faces. It's not comedy hour, but we'll make this a comedy 1 minute.
Right? Here. Sir. Say here. I got you all back. I just feel spoiler. I know that, huh? Somebody got to carry fight.
Don't change the thing, will you?
Look at who's here.
You alright?
Right there with you. Get on the way. Come, turn towards the light. Let us see. I got all y'all under my Heights. One love, right? One love. They don't know how far we go. They don't know this.
The PPP, everybody making them a paku. Everybody making them a paku. Even Rasta. Oh, everybody making them a paku.
Nana out na nung em.
Get all y'all on the mic.
Nana out na nung em.
I get all y'all on the mic.
Nana out na nung em.
Y'all got to vote the PPP out of office, guys. All of you. Corinne Jones, how are you? Lily Galivia, Francine Cruz. Francine Cruz. All right, guys, I'm out of here. God bless you all. And I'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same time. Right here on 107.1 FM. Don't fall for the PPP bluff. Don't fall for Jack Deer's bluff. Don't fall for Susan Rodriguez's bluff. Don't fall for Air Finale bluff. And don't fall for any new serpents on the block bluff. It's like a domino game. We know who are the ones bluffing. We know them.
Put it, man. Put it. Yes, sir, you play it. Put it, yes, sir. Come, the man. Come now, stop irritating me, man. You have to play yes, sir. You don't have to play yes, sir. So put it, yes, sir, man, make me win. Hey, man, jump up, the man. Come the spawn, man. You can't help you, man.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Sujurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship?
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata, Francis E. Vietnam, and since 1965, I become a voter. And I always place my ex next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Right? Here. Sir. Say here. I got you all back. I just pay the spoiler. I know that, somebody got to carry fight. Don't change the thing, will you? Look at who's here. You alright? Right there with you. You don't know it. Come, turn the light. Let us see. I got all y'all under my heights. One love, right? One love. They don't know how far we go. They don't know this.
Nana out na nung em. Nana out na nung em.